Now, it's pretty much widely known at this point in time that Disney, of course, had the worst year throughout 2023, not just because of their box office failures with the movies such as Indiana Jones 5, Elemental, The Little Mermaid, and even The Haunted Mansion did not perform all that well back in July. And given that the stocks hit a 9-year low and the park attendees are very low at this point in time, over at least in the Orlando destination, merchandise is down, Bob Iger really just is not having a good year. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into the subject, shall we? Now, we know that Bob Iger has been in this constant shakeup with the Disney board. A lot of arguments, a lot of differences on specific subjects about their business models, and that's exactly why Bob Iger and the board have been in a constant struggle about what to do with the future of Disney, either both in the short term or the long term. Now, given that there's a lot of conversations happening between all of the board members on what to do with Bob Iger, there's actually a lot of conditions that have been made about their plan to firing Bob Iger that we're going to be covering specifically today and exactly what that entails for 2024 and beyond. Now, specifically, we know that Bob Iger, as I like to call him, Bob Liger, because this man lies so many times, he likes to always make it seem like Disney is performing 10 times, if not 50 tons higher than what they really are, and exactly trying to convince the general public to just accept what they are doing with DEI. Now, moving onwards, with the Disney Board of Directors and Bob Iger heading into more issues related to Disney, one major development has to do with a plan to fire Bob Iger. Specifically, a significant update to all of this is that if the board realizes that Bob Iger's cost containment plan does not create a positive pattern, or improvements for Disney by the summer of 2024, they are looking to replace him with a more valuable CEO in their mind that is said to be more extreme with the whole DEI agenda to be placed within movies and television. A shocking turn of events is that the board surprisingly is looking for someone that is more strict than Bob Iger surrounding the improvement of DEI in their upcoming movies and shows and how everything is represented. But most importantly is that they have not been impressed with Bob Iger's cost containment plan so far and how he was directly responsible for the stocks hitting a 9-year low. The board reportedly also is playing, of course, that into a big factor, that if Iger cannot get stocks up to pre-2023 levels by the summer of next year, they are fully on board with replacing him with a new CEO. Now guys, let me just stop here before I get to the next significant aspect of this development, is that it goes to show you that Bob Iger is really not fit for the role of CEO anymore. I think that at the end of the day, Bob Chapek, had his faults with the parks. He wasn't really the best CEO either, but I definitely will place Bob Iger as the worst Disney CEO of all time. There's no doubt about that. But the board, we gotta say this, and I have to say this, are quite hypocritical, and I'll talk about this later in a second, but the board is quite hypocritical because they too also very much played a large and significant role in the stocks hitting this 9-year low. These are the people that are pushing this DEI agenda, and if they think that Bob Iger isn't strict enough with what he is actually planning with all the live-action reboots and remakes of their animated counterparts, then that's quite scary, the fact that they think Bob Iger is not strict enough with improving DEI and forcing it to the general public. That's quite concerning. The fact that they feel that they could do better with somebody else goes to show you how radical they really are. And it's not just the board. We have to always mention some of the top shareholders like BlackRock and Vanguard. We always like to bring up that quote by Larry Fink that you have to force change. That is their initiative, that's their plan, that's their priority. And that goes to show you that Larry Fink is really somebody that really is behind a lot of this. Now, we know that Disney, though, is going in a very sharp downward trend, at an alarming rate, mind you. I mean, The stocks aren't performing well. Merchandise is at, a very disgusting level for them. They don't know what to do with the streaming business models such as Disney Plus and other streaming models out there like Hulu and ESPN. It's a mess. It really is a big mess right now. So, moving onwards, alright? 3 candidates are already in mind between most of the board members to replace Bob Iger in an attempt to improve stocks and to have a rebooting and remaking of the Disney live-action and animated classics, even if and when Iger is fired, and many of his plans are to continue on that front for the movies. Iger is described to be aware about the board and their growing issue with him, being directly responsible for the stocks hitting a 9-year low, and the board is reportedly extremely unhappy with Disney's image, falling, of course, apart under Iger, which may be hypocritical, like I said before, since the board too is playing a direct role in all of this. This could be nothing more than scapegoating on an internal level. Now guys, let me just bring this up real quick. This is exactly what that is. This is literally scapegoating at an internal level. So basically you have the board pointing fingers at Bob Iger, like, no, it's your fault why Disney is failing, it's your fault why stocks are hitting an all-time low, or a 9-year low I should say, and in reality, we gotta face it, it really is the board and Bob Iger and the shareholders that are at the top that are really all contributing to this mess. So you're going to have this constant scapegoating happening behind the scenes at Disney, all these pointing fingers at other individuals, and it's just chaos. It really is. We've seen similar things happen before in the Chapek era, where the board was pointing fingers at him based on, the direction of where the movies and the shows were going for Disney Plus in theaters at the time, when they were really struggling with ticket sales. Mind you, that was a very difficult time for everyone. But we know that the board nowadays, they really just want to see, who they can point fingers at. And that's where it comes to play, where the board is really trying to figure out how do they really improve the DEI agenda while everything is, currently happening in the state of Florida. They don't really care about what has happened. They want to keep, pushing the foot on the gas pedal and moving things forward, and really just not, caring at all, no matter what kind of ramifications come out of it. So again, like I say, with the mixture of everything that's happening with the merchandise and the stocks and the box office failures, the Marvels and Snow White, they're not going to help. They're just going to drive customers away on top of all of this. So we know that Bob Iger, the fact that they have 3 candidates in mind, it makes you wonder, who are these candidates? We'll be talking about that later in the month as this unravels, and we'll talk about that once we learn more about that. But these 3 candidates are of interest. Who are they? And exactly, are they more fit for the role than Bob Iger? I highly doubt it if they feel that they are more strict with the DEI agenda. So anyway guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.